Unusually for me, I've stayed relatively quiet over the last 36 hours and listened to the incredibly thoughtful and emotional reflections made by my peers about the wonderful school that I've had the privilege to attend. And tonight, I want to express my long-lasting gratitude to this amazing community that is St Leonard's College. Before I continue, many of you may be aware of this, but for those who don't, I have a profound deafness that has affected me since birth. Although I do use it as an excuse for mishearing pretty much everything by saying that I have bad hearing, it essentially means that without the assistance of cochlear implants, I could be standing next to a Qantas A380 engine at full power and would only be able to hear the quietest whisper. Fortunately, modern technology means that I'm able to hear around 85% of the sounds everyone else in this hall can. I don't believe my hearing impairment defines me, and every day I'm more confident in that belief. Before I came to St Leonard's, however, I attended a primary school where this belief I had was completely eroded. On a daily basis, I was separated from my classmates for special instruction, which mostly ended up with me playing board games over and over again because the staff couldn't think of any activities for me. Of course, in the minds of the other primary school children, this kid being whisked off with a member of staff every day to do non-academic activities must mean that he's receiving special attention. Combined with the limited time I was able to interact with the other students, this meant that I wasn't able to form any meaningful friendships, and indeed became to be increasingly resented by other students who went as far as to use sign language, which, by the way, is something I've never learnt in my life, to communicate inappropriate and derogatory symbols towards me. This has been incredibly difficult for me to describe, but I hope it paints a picture for you all about how I felt as a lonely, nervous student walking up the Harefield driveway with my dad in January 2014. Before I came to St Leonard's, I had talked to Miss Chisholm, who is now the head of learning support, as well as Lorraine Brooks-Dowse, about not wanting any special attention whatsoever. No separate classes, no information sessions for fellow students, etc. Miss Chisholm respected this, and in my opinion, the learning support team, led by Miss Chisholm, is one of the unsung heroes at our college, and I will be forever thankful to Miss Chisholm for the unconditional support and care she has always given me. Anyway, so Year 7 started, and I was surprised to see that people in my class in the year level were actually taking an interest in me, and none of the questions and the conversations we had anything to do with my deafness. Then one day in term 3, so this is now at least 6 months into the year, I was at my locker when suddenly someone in my class, who shall remain nameless at the moment, said, "Gab, what's that thing on your ear?" And I said, "You know, for my deafness." In response, this person said a word that I cannot repeat on stage and proceeded to tell everyone standing around me. At first, I was absolutely terrified. The memories of the past 6 years began flooding back to me, and I thought this utopia of being normal was no longer. But then over the next few hours, I realised 2 things. First, my friends and my peers genuinely found my bad hearing interesting. And second of all, and more importantly, after all of the questions, everything went back to normal and we were talking about completely irrelevant Year 7 stuff. For me, this was the purest form of happiness. To know that I was finally able to come to a place every day where my classmates and teachers alike saw me at face value and didn't let my hearing get in the way of their judgment means the world to me. This blessing, I don't think, is something that many other communities could be able to provide with such warmth and generosity, and it is something that will stay with me for the rest of my life. Of course, it's not just me graduating tonight. There are 160 odd other incredible human beings that are also finishing their time at St Leonard's College. The class of 2019, I think, is pretty special. Owen Bowditch said at an event I attended the other night, there was a student leadership that had created unity in our cohort. Well, although those words mean more than anyone will ever know, I actually believe it is every single student in our year level, each with their own unique interests, personalities and backgrounds, who have come together to bond as a year group in what I think is an unbreakable dynamic. Whether we are maturely debating a school policy, rallying around our peers who may be struggling, or enjoying just a good laugh in learning futures, our cohort has something about it that is so unique that I will miss so much, and I know everyone will as well. Especially in the last year of schooling, having a year level who is united is so vital to each individual's progress and well-being. Indeed, if Mr. Davis got us to do the turn to the person next to you and say, "I love you" thing, I would be more than happy to do it with any one of you, and I know this sentiment is shared by everyone in this group. Thank you for being such a bunch of legends. I want to also acknowledge tonight the role various teachers have played in the academic, social and emotional development of the students in our cohort. Every student tonight will have one or two teachers who have stood out for them in their time at St Leonard's College. I've already mentioned Miss Chisholm, but it is also Gail Llewellyn who provided that integral support, and I know she is here tonight. I'm in debt to Mrs. Llewellyn for the guidance she gave me to become a smarter, wiser and kinder member of the college, and I miss her more and more every day. Along with my fantastic co-captain Helene, I've spent a number of Saturday mornings listening to Mr. Davis speak to prospective parents about his Hogwarts-like journey of travelling through the countryside to a medieval castle that was his new school. Well, I can't relate to the steam train in the castle, but I know that like the rest of the year level, I've been humbled to have attended a school led by a man of such decency, kindness and dedication to our community, just like Albus Dumbledore did for Hogwarts. The respect shown by Mr. Davis to each of us, to our year level, as well as the support given by the other school leaders, Mrs. Slingsby, Mr. Moore, Miss Hack, and of course the legendary Dr. MacArthur, has meant a great deal to our year level, as we have genuinely felt like we've been given a voice. Lastly, I must pay tribute to the people who got us Year 12s here in the first place, and that is our parents. Thank you for caring for us, feeding us, chauffeuring us, listening to us, and loving us through this very busy year. You will get your children back in mid-November, I can promise you of that, although please don't throw too many chores at us all right at once. And of course, thank you in particular to my mum and dad, Christina and Andrew, for being my inspiration and for sacrificing so much for me to have an incredible 6 years here. So Year 12s, as we come to the end of our secondary schooling, let's remember the incredible journey we have all been on, but as we look forward, to keep the words of Oprah Winfrey in mind that education is the key to unlocking the world. Well, I can't wait to see you all unlock your potential and grow and grow. Please keep in contact. For now though, from the bottom of my heart, thank you.